Heat coach Eric Spoelstra, who is an Oregon native, spent some time with Oregon football coach Chip Kelly, seeing how Oregon's spread offense might be applied to basketball.
Hey Duck fans, Kurt here. Welcome to my weekly Fishduck.com vlog. These videos are created here in my home to update all you fine feathered brethren on everything new going on with Fishduck.com and the world of Oregon athletics. First, a quick Fishduck.com update. There were lots of great articles this week that came out on the site. For previews of Wisconsin, be sure to take a look at Josh White's terrific breakdowns of both the Wisconsin offense and defense. David Mello continued his series, flashing back to Oregon's BCS preparations a decade ago when the Ducks were facing off in the Fiesta Bowl against Colorado. And our very first article from Jared Sawyer appeared on Monday, breaking down a hypothetical playoff system that would be far superior to what we have now. And let's face it, a game of tic-tac-toe would be better than the currently structured BCS system. As for me, I wrote about a sense that I have picked up from speaking with many football Oregon alumni that feel a certain sense of disrespect, that they're being ignored, that the past is been forgotten amidst all of Oregon's 21st century aspects of trying to think ahead and be progressive. So check it out, it's an interesting read. Josh Schlichter and Charles are also hard at work on more videos. Josh's video recently posted to the site. Charles will have a new video soon. So check back to the site often for new content. Also, if you sign up for our newsletter or our RSS feed, you will receive weekly updates of all the new content appearing on the site. Both the RSS feed and our newsletter sign up and links to our social media sites are all available on the front page of fishduck.com. Now, Fishduck still needs web development IT help, and we are always looking for more writers. So if you have web development or IT experience, or you think you have the chops to write for Fishduck.com, please contact me at kurt@fishduck.com. Thank you. Let's go over a quick basketball update. The Ducks have had an extended homestand of late. Unfortunately, Oregon played a little sloppy against a very good Virginia team last Sunday and came out with a loss. Tuesday, Wednesday, and tonight, Thursday, Oregon has hosted a mini basketball tournament at Matt Knight Arena, the Global Sports Hoops Showcase. This has been a 4-team tournament at Matt Knight, with each school playing the other teams once. Oregon has not looked overly crisp, but managed to come away with victories in the first 2, and the third game is currently taking place right now as I record this. The Ducks picked up wins over North Carolina Central and Prairie View A&M, and as of right now, they are playing against Stephen F. Austin. Now, these games are the final out-of-conference tune-ups before Pac-12 play begins, starting December 29th with a game at Washington State. This Duck team shows promise, but it's still a little raw in their execution. But the guys are gelling, they're starting to come together, and we should continue to see slow but steady improvement over the course of this season. I don't think the Ducks are going to be a tournament team this year, but maybe next year they'll be able to pull it all together, and by the later tail end of this season, they could surprise some people. Now, time to talk a little Rose Bowl action. Now, this is a BCS game, of course, and with every BCS game, the game itself is just one part of the overall festivities. It starts on New Year's Eve. There are a few duck parties going on, but the Fishduck team, including myself, strongly encourage you, if you're coming down here to Los Angeles, to ring in the new year at the Highlands inside the Hollywood and Highland Complex in Hollywood next to Grauman's Chinese Theater. Kenny Wheaton, Michael Fletcher, Jaya Figueres, Patrick Johnson, and other Oregon greats are hosting a party that should be an amazing way to celebrate the new year and prepare for the big game. Tickets are available online at the following link. I'll be there along with a few others from the Fishduck team and a whole lot of Duck fans, so be sure to come out as well. It'll be a great time. Then once you're fully recovered from the New Year's Day hangover, head down to the Santa Monica Pier on January 1st for the official Oregon Ducks pep rally. I was there for the Rose Bowl pep rally 2 years ago, and despite a little rain, it was a great time. Now, as for game day, there is of course the traditional Rose Parade in Pasadena, and the tailgating taking place on the golf course adjacent to the stadium is fantastic as always. It really is one of the best settings for a game outside the stadium. Inside, I have my complaints about the Rose Bowl, but as for the tailgating experience, it really doesn't get much better than the Rose Bowl. Now, after the game, there's a celebration taking place in Pasadena as well. A party at Club Menage hosted by Achilles Smith, Ruben Drones, and Patrick Johnson, among others. It's only $10 to get in. It's close to the stadium. I'll be there. You should too. As for the game, let's talk Wisconsin. By now, we should be familiar with the Big Ten style of play. They like to line up and go belly to belly, overpowering teams with their line and power running game. Wisconsin is the epitome of Big Ten football. They're led by a trio of offensive standouts in quarterback Russell Wilson, running back Monty Ball, and wide receiver Nick Toon. Yes, Nick Toon is his name. He's the son of former New York Jets wide receiver Al Toon, and he is a legitimate threat. Now, the bad news is that this offense looks eerily similar to the 2009 Ohio State team that beat Oregon the last time the Ducks played in this bowl game. Wilson is a big, talented quarterback with a big arm and quick feet capable of getting outside the pocket and moving the chains. Ball is a bruiser who has scored the second most touchdowns in a single season of any player in NCAA history, behind only Barry Sanders. Ball just finds a way to get into the end zone, often. If Wisconsin gets near the goal line, expect a heavy dose of Monty Ball to punch it in. Now, Wilson is a very accurate passer, and their receivers can get downfield, but they are a run first, run second, run third kind of team that tries to pound it down a team's throat. Unfortunately, this is the exact style of team that Oregon has had to face in the last two bowl games, and the Ducks lost them both. But there is good news. Unlike the 2009 Rose Bowl or last season's national championship game, Wisconsin's defense is not on par with Ohio State or Auburn. Both of these teams featured all-world defensive tackles that were capable of consistently collapsing the pocket or disrupting the mesh point. And the one thing that is guaranteed to always stop Oregon's offense every time is consistent disruption of the mesh by the center getting pushed back. Wisconsin's defense is a lot like USC's defense this year. They're very good straight ahead, but lacking in lateral speed. Unfortunately this year, Oregon didn't figure out until the fourth quarter that if they started going sideline to sideline with screen passes and outside zone reads, that the defense couldn't stop it. Hopefully this time around Chip attacks the edges early and often. The last few bowl games we've seen Chip try to really get too cute with the offense, especially early on. This is not the time for that. Time to go to the bread and butter. Run outside zone reads and screen passes to attack Wisconsin on the edge. Get those big linemen and linebackers having to cover sideline to sideline. If they start moving laterally, this defense will get gassed quick. Now, their best interior lineman is Bo Allen, who has picked up 4 sacks this year, but he is not on par with Cameron Hayward or Nick Fairley. I don't foresee Hronis Grasu getting pushed around like a rag doll the way that Oregon centers were manhandled in the Rose Bowl and the national championship. The Wisconsin defense is really centered around linebackers Mike Taylor and Chris Borland. Each have over 130 tackles on the season, and wherever the ball goes, expect Taylor and Borland to be in on the tackle nearly every play. In the Badgers secondary, senior cornerback Antonio Fenelus has picked off 4 passes this season, as has junior safety Shelton Jones. But this is a defense built for playing Big Ten teams that like to run straight ahead, and they will have to be run conscious trying to stop LaMichael James. So look for Jones and the other safety, Aaron Henry, to play up close to the line often and run support. Now, Oregon can outrun this defense. I don't think there's any question of that, especially seeing them play against Michigan State in the Big Ten Championship. They were being outrun left and right. Oregon can outrun this defense moving laterally. And as those safeties start to creep up to cover the run game, watch for DeAnthony Thomas and David Paulson in particular getting deep past Jones and Henry on go routes. If Thomas can deliver the ball accurately deep, I think there are going to be receivers open downfield, as a lot of the Oregon receivers should be in man-to-man coverage for much of this game. The X factor in this game is the time between the last one. When teams have extra time to prepare for Oregon, it usually spells trouble for the Ducks. Having weeks to condition and prepare for the pace means Wisconsin won't have quite the shock that they might experience if this game was being played mid-season. There's also the concern of Oregon being rusty. It really is imperative that Oregon set the tone early, with a couple long drives attacking Wisconsin on the edges, forcing that defense to run laterally. Don't get too cute, as we've seen Chip tend to do in bowl games early. Just stick with what Oregon does best, and make Wisconsin chase the Ducks' speedy receivers and backs. Based on the track record under Chip in big games, the time off to prepare, and Wisconsin being largely a carbon copy of the 2009 Ohio State team, sans a superstar defensive tackle, much of the media is picking Wisconsin to win this one. Frankly, I'm not surprised. Keep in mind this Wisconsin team is really 2 last-second Hail Mary passes away from being undefeated and playing in the national championship. Their defense may not fully be all-world, but better believe that their offense is as proficient as there is in the entire country. The Ducks have to slow down Monty Ball, who's averaging 6.4 yards per carry on the season, and prevent Russell Wilson from being able to escape the pocket and run, as we saw time and again in the 2010 Rose Bowl with Terrell Pryor. Hopefully the lessons learned from the Rose Bowl and the National Championship will be implemented and applied into the game plan. Ducks can really use their defensive speed to neutralize this Wisconsin attack and play smart, efficient football on offense, attacking laterally. Will they? We'll see on January 2nd. The Ducks can't start slow like they have for much of this season. They have to set the tone early. If the Duck offense stalls and Wisconsin is able to move the chains on third downs on the feet of Ball or Wilson, it could turn out to be a long day. Look out, because this one could turn into an eerily similar repeat of the Rose Bowl against Ohio State. I'm confident that the Ducks can deliver, and I'll be there in the stands screaming my guts out in support. And now, my random tweet of the week.
Hey, will you shut up?
Thank you.
I work in the music industry, and every week on these videos I try to highlight a different artist that you might have missed, but is really worth a minute of your time to give a listen. This week I want to introduce you to an indie power pop band from Seattle, Telekinesis. Now, Telekinesis has made a lot of noise in a very short time. They've released 2 full albums and an EP since 2009 amidst a very intense, constant tour schedule. Their first self-titled album was produced by Chris Walla of Death Cab for Cutie, and the sound is what you would expect if Death Cab for Cutie ever wrote an exuberantly happy, upbeat record. The lineup of the band has changed a little bit, and with their 2011 album, 12 Desperate Straight Lines, they continued with their signature driving indie pop sound. Telekinesis' sound is very fast, energetic, melodic, and overly happy, and even when dealing with sad subject matter, it remains great pop rock music with heavy guitar crunch and overlying pop sensibilities. It gives them a real feel similar to groups like Spoon, Ted Leo and the Pharmacists, Weezer, Superchunk, and of course, Death Cab for Cutie. Telekinesis is pure power trio pop bliss. It's the perfect soundtrack for a road trip. Enjoy. So that's it for me this week. Be sure to add some Telekinesis to your iPods for the drive from Eugene down to Los Angeles for the Rose Bowl. Hopefully I'll be seeing you at the New Year's Eve party at the Highlands in Hollywood, as well as the pep rally at the Santa Monica Pier on New Year's Day, tailgating at the Rose Bowl game itself, and then come celebrate with me and some Duck legends and some other people from the Fishduck team at Club Menage after the game. Until next week, this is Kurt saying Go Ducks!